Supposed to be here. Y'all about to start?
All right. I Madwa, Hania, Jerusalem, stand and face Jerusalem. The blessing of the Sabbath. Barakata Yahweh. Ba'asham. Yahweh Shai. Asherah. Nethananawa. HaShabbat. Ba'Shalawam. Duwada. Aman. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that give to us the Sabbath in peace. Thank you, so be it. Psalms 121. Ta'alim, Maha, Ashariam, Akkad. Anya, Harayam, Ayimya, Al, Ahariam, Mahayan, Yabwa'a, Isaiah, Yabwa'a, Mayahawa, Shasha, Shamayam, Warataza, La'a, Yenathan, Lamawat, Ragalia, Yala'a, Yenawum, Shashamarka, Hana, La'a, Yenawum, Wala'a, Yayashan, Shashamar, Yasharala, Yahawa, Shamaria, Yahawa, Tazaria, Ayam, Yan, Yamyanya, Yawamam, Hashamash, La'a, Hakaya, Wayarak, La'a, Balayala, Yahawa, Yashamaria, Makal, Rai, Yashamar, Napashia, Yahawa, Yashamar, Hawalakia, Wabaya, Baitha, Wa'id, Iwalam, Basham, Yahawishai, Tubada, Aman.
Psalms 121. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper, the Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Amen.
Amen. Shema Yasharah, Hero Israel. Shama Yasharala, Yahweh, Allahinawa, Yahweh, Akkad. Shama Yasharala, Yahweh, Allahinawa, Yahweh, Akkad. Shama Yasharala, Yahweh, Allahinawa, Yahweh, Akkad.
Deuteronomy 6 and 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our power is one Lord. Amen.
Amen. The Lord's Prayer. Yahweh Thapalah. Abinawa. Shabbat Shemayim. Kodash. Haya. Shamka. Yahweh. Malakwatka. Taba'ah. Ratizawanka, Haya, Aisha, Baratiza, Ka, Bashamayim, Nathanawa, Lakam, Yawam, Za, Wasalak Lanawa, Kawabwatinawa, Kasalak Nawa, Kawabwatinawa, Wala'a, Habiyanawa, Al, Messiah 1, Abal, Hawashinawar, Marai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwat, Wa'ala, Wataparat, Luai Walam. Amen.
Matthew 6 and 9. After this manner, therefore, pray ye, our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
Amen. Aishara Matazawat, the Ten Commandments. La'a, Yahaya, Laka, Alahayim, Akariam, Apanya, La'a, Taisha, Laka, Pasal, Wala'a, Doabidam, La'a, Talakwaka, Shamwa, Yahawa, Alahayaka, Lashua, Zakar, At, Hayawam, Hashabat, Lakodashwa, Kabad, Abika, Wa'amaka, La'a, Taratizak, La'a, Dana'ab, La'a, Takanab, La'a, Taina, Shakor, La'a, Takamad, Kal, Ashira, Laraika, Aman.
Amen. Exodus 20 and 3. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, meaning murder. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not cover the neighbor's house. Thou shalt not cover the neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Amen.
Amen. Yeshua, be seated. Barakata Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Asherah, Nathanawa, Parya, Hagapan, Duwada, Aman, La, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, At Yasha'ala. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, that give to us the fruit of the vine. Thank you, so be it, to Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, with Israel. And Madwa Panya, Jerusalem, stand and face Jerusalem. Barakata Yahweh, Hagadal, Rakawam, Abiyah, Wanara'ah, Aliyawan, Malak, Shal, Shamayim, Waratizah, Wakal, Dabarium, Kayayam, Wagam, Amashiach, Mayahawa, Adawanawa, Ahabnel, Apala, Yawaitiza, Yahawishai, Zakarnawa, Yahweh, Ratazawan, Imka, Yasha'ala, Izarnawa, Mana, Wasap, Yasha'ala, Al, Nanawa, Yamyan, Aitha, Kayawamyam, Makodam, Babakashah, Shalak, Maka'ala, Watazwadak, Alahayam, La, Maganawa, Rapanawa, Washamor, Alnawa, Baikor, Shalak, Haraka, Shal, Yahushai, Lanawa, Lalamadnawa, Rabiam, Kakama, Tabawana, Wada'ai, Shal, Dabarka, Basham, Yahushai, Tawada, Damyan, Waibalam, Amen. Blessed are you, Yahweh, the great, merciful, mighty, terrible, most high power, King of heaven and earth, and all things living, and also the anointed from Yahweh, our Lord, our friend, the wonderful counselor, Yahweh Shai. Remember us, Yahweh, favorably, your people Israel. Help us build and gather Israel. Most High, we beg you, right now, like the days of old, please send Michael and the righteous powers to protect us, heal us, and watch over us. Mainly send the spirit of Yahweh Shai to us to teach us much wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of thy word. In the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you, always and forever, so be it. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that give to us the Lord. Barakata Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Asherah, Nathanawa, Hatarara. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that give to us light to see. Barakata Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Asherah, Nathanawa, Awar, Larawat. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that give to us the rams on to call the people. Barakata Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Asherah, Nathanawa, Quran, Hayal, La Korah, Ha'aim. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that give to us the olive oil to anoint Israel. Barakata Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Asherah, Nathanawa, Hashaman, Zayat, Lamashak, Yasha'ala. Yashaba, be seated.
Your thermos, right?
I have my water in the car.
No, but I'm saying you still have your thermos.
Yeah, I have, but I didn't bring it today. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
The blind. Shalom, Israel. Welcome to Yeshua Kanas, Church of Israel. My name is Kahan Yawa Kanan, and I'll be presiding over the service. Welcome to another Sabbath service. Getting closer to kingdom. All these things that happen, all these, wars and rumors of wars and earthquake and pestilence and all these things that are happening in the world. It's like how in the New Testament, in Acts 7 and 6, it says, Acts 7 and 6, it says, and God spake on this wise, that his seed should sojourn in a strange land, because this is not our homeland. Our homeland is Israel, not Africa. This is a strange land to us. And that they should bring them into bondage and entreat them evil 400 years. So we've been 400 years into slavery. Verse 7, and the nation to whom they shall be in bondage will I judge, said God, and after that shall they come forth and serve me in this place, our homeland. So the Most High is judging this nation and punishing the whole world for what they have done to us. His chosen people, the children of Israel. So today we're reading the Sabbath service, which is the Sabbath is Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, not Sunday. And today we're reading out of the Apocrypha, Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, chapter 7 and 8. And we're doing chapter 7 right now. And the Apocrypha it was original in the King James 1611. But a lot of the Bibles, they take them out of it. They just have the Old Testament and New Testament. So when you read the Old Testament and the New Testament, like something is missing. And that's the Apocrypha. It says Ecclesiasticus chapter 7, verse 1. It says, do no evil, so shall no harm come unto thee. So verse 1. So if you're gonna do evil, expect this. It says Galatians 6 and 7. It said, "Be not deceived, God is not mocked. For whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap." So if someone do evil, down the block, and they're running away from it, I'm pretty sure that what the evil he does down there, he might harm somebody down there. They're coming looking for him. So he's gonna come and hide someplace. It's gonna come back to him. It might come back to him more. Because they're searching for him. So it says that do no evil. All right. So you do good. He said, "Do no evil, so shall no harm come unto thee." It makes sense. It said, "Depart," verse 2. It said, "Depart from the unjust, and iniquity shall turn away from thee." Stay away from the unjust, the wicked people.
I talked to my kids about that. 5 of them. Don't get into that. The devil won't come your way.
So, from verse 2, it says Psalms 1. Psalms 1 and 1. It said, "Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful." So you're blessed and you're happy when you're not, you stay away from the unjust. Because you within, with the unjust and all kind of wickedness is going on, and you become part of it. Right? It says, verse 3, it said, "My son, sow not upon the forest of unrighteousness, and thou shalt not reap them sevenfold." So if you go and do a whole bunch of unrighteousness, and you're wondering, why all these things is happening to you, because you could get it back sevenfold. Don't sow that. And you wonder why all this evil coming upon me, and people kind of look as like, what did he do? He went down there and he robbed somebody, he murdered somebody, or do something wicked down there, and a whole bunch of people looking for him. Verse 4, "Seek not of the Lord preeminence, neither of the king the seat of honor." So, you're of the ways, want to know, like, the ways of the Most High, even Ezra, wanted to know, things of the Most High like that. And the Most High, certain ways that you can't, you can't find out. You're not going to find out these things because the Most High, even Ezra asked him certain things and he couldn't answer. Or, your average person, you want to, of the king, the seat of honor among him, because he already have his seat, his position, and he have his captains and his so on and so forth around him. Verse 5, justify not thyself before the Lord, and boast not of thy wisdom before the king. So even verse 5, we got Job 40 and 4. You read that for me? Come on. Some more.
Job chapter 40, verse 4. Behold, I am vile. What shall I answer thee? I will lay my hand upon my mouth.
Because even that time when Job was going to all these things and he know why, and his friends is saying this and saying that and so on and so forth, maybe I've sinned and my children sin and what, and a whole bunch of stuff. And the Most High came to him and he's like, he put his hands upon his, he put his hands upon his mouth. Yeah, cons him up.
Right. So when you look at these series of verses, like 4 to 6, it just goes into not being high-minded and proud. Sometimes you get that way before men, but just because the Most High may have elevated you, don't think that you're going to seek preeminence before the Most High or justify yourself before the Most High because He has given you the ability and gifts to do certain things. Now you think you are above what other things may fall upon someone else. So you try to justify yourself before the Lord. Well, the Most High knows your spirit better than you know your own spirit. So you got to always come before the Most High, humble, repentative, right? Thanksworthy for everything that the Most High is doing. You can't justify or think the Most High owes you something or you've done so much, so you should get this, right? No, you have to always, like how Job says, listen, I'm vile. I'm still a sinner. I still have iniquity or certain weaknesses in me that I need to be worked on. And you still want that before the Most High. So you should never get that high-minded that you now think that you are on a certain level where the Most High looks at you a certain way than others. Right? That's that proud look or that proud man or woman.
Yeah. So verse 6, seek not to be judged, be not able to take away iniquity, lest at any time thou fear the person of the mighty and stumbling block in the way of thy upright.
Okay,
let me read it. Seek not to be judged, be not able to take away iniquity, right?
Being not able.
Being not able to take away iniquity. It says, lest at any time thou fear the person of the mighty and stumbling block
and lay. That's what happens when you read the online. You don't use the books. You gotta use the book, man. The online sometimes I'm leaving out certain things.
Okay. Is that right verse? Verse 6, right? Seek not to be judged, being not able to take away iniquity, lest at any time thou fear the person of the mighty and lay a stumbling block in the way of thy uprightness. So you have sometimes, the judges, and you have the mighty in front of you, and you fear to make a righteous judgment because what he might do to you, or your family, and so on and so forth. So because you're supposed to do righteous judgment. Sometimes, in the world, sometimes judges get killed. Even among our people. Sometimes here, Central or South America, they make a righteous judgment, and and some people go to the judge house and kill him. So the other judges, they might like, oh, I'm fearful for my life too, because the mighty is in front of them.
So this is pretty much advising you to seek not to be put, or don't thrust yourself into a situation that you don't have control over, that you can't handle, right? Don't seek to be a judge, being not able to take away iniquity. Like, you don't have the position, the might, the wisdom, the not, whatever it is, in order to judge the matter, but you want to insert yourself in there. And then when the situation gets out of hand, then someone a mighty person comes in, whether they got influence, whether they got money, whether they just got physical strength. And then now you be afraid of the person because of what it is they have. And now you go lay an unjust decision down on a righteous person because you fear a mighty person. So don't put yourself in a situation that you can't handle, is what the Most High is advising here through the Spirit.
Yeah. Verse 7, it says, offend not against the multitude of a city, and then thou shalt not cast thyself down among the people. So with a multitude of, many people in the city, and you offend them, because they can, come up against you. Sometimes you hear, or a certain chief or certain people in position, and you say something to offend them, and they come up against you, and you end up being fired or resigning. Verse 8, it says, find not one sin upon another, for in one thou shalt not be unpunished. So sometimes you caught up in a situation that you end up adding sin to sin. Verse 8. Isaiah 1:12. So don't continue adding sin upon sin, and you get up caught up in it so much that you just like it just snowball. Like in Isaiah 1:12, it says, "When ye come to appear before me, who had required this at your hand to tread my courts?" So going to the courts and you're offering your sacrifice, and you're gonna do the sin, and you're gonna continue doing the sin, and you're gonna offering. So you're offering all this offering for your sin, and you keep doing it. You know what's going on? You gotta stop doing this sin because it's costly, to you in the long run. Verse 9. Say not, God will look upon the multitude of my oblations. And when I offer it to the Most High God, he will accept it. So just like in Isaiah 1:12, the multitude of my oblation, my offering, I keep treading the courts and keep going back and forth and treading it. Don't do that. The Most High come to a point, the Most High is not going to accept that because you keep sinning. Because when you go into Psalms 1:12, I'm looking at the Psalms. Psalms 51, verse 16. That's for verse 9. Psalms 51, verse 16. For thou desirest not sacrifice, else would I give it. Thou delightest not in burnt offering. Verse 17. The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and a contrite heart. O God, thou wilt not despise. So 16 and 17. The Most High, want you to come to that repentance, that broken spirit, not the multitude of my oblation, like in verse 9.
Right. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 34, verse 19.
34.
34:19, it says, the Most High is not pleased with the offerings of the wicked, neither is he pacified for sin by the multitude of sacrifices. Right? So you can't, like the scripture also says, I think it's Ecclesiastes, the gift destroyeth the heart. The Most High is not going to be pacified by you just coming with all these oblations and coming with these sacrifices and coming with these offerings, but you're still committing the trespass that he's upset with. Most High can't be won over like how man can be won over.
Verse 10. Be not faint-hearted when thou makest thy prayer, and neglect not to give alms. When you make your prayers, make it, steadfast prayers. Pray earnestly to the Most High. And is, you know, for you to give alms, because always give to the poor. Ecclesiasticus 3:30. Okay. Yeah, let me read this one. Ecclesiasticus 3:30. That's for verse 10. Can you read that quickly for me?
Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 30. Water will quench a flaming fire, and alms make it an atonement for sins.
So it's good to give alms to the poor. Even at times when we have our fields, we don't glean everything. We leave, something for the poor because they have to eat also. And
1 Timothy 2:8. For the first part, be not faint-hearted when thou makest thy prayer. This is 1 Timothy 2:8. I will therefore that men pray everywhere, lifting up holy hands without wrath and doubting. Right? You can't come to the Most High where you're not sure of yourself, or you're not sure of the Most High. You're kind of doubting. I don't know. I think there might be a chance that there is a God and He is listening. No, you can't come to the Lord that way. So you can't be faint-hearted.
Verse 11, laugh no man to scorn in the bitterness of his soul, for there is one which humbleth and exalteth. So the man is down and out, don't laugh because it could be you. Because the Most High, He humbleth and He exalteth. So even Zephaniah 1:14, for verse 11. Zephaniah 1:14. The great day of the Lord is near. It is near and hasteneth greatly, even the voice of the day of the Lord. The mighty man shall cry there bitterly. So the mighty man, proud man, shall cry bitterly. So I can read in Revelation that, humble all flesh. They
Proverbs chapter 17, verse 5. I read the verse again. It says, laugh no man to scorn in the bitterness of his soul. So he's going through things, right? He might be, travailing. He might have lost his family, lost his job. He's going through a lot of things. So it's not a time to laugh a man to scorn in the bitterness of his soul. Then it says, for there is one which humbleth and exalteth. So you obviously have to consider the Most High. From Proverbs 17:5, it says, whoso mocketh the poor reproacheth his maker. So when you do that and laugh that man to scorn, when you're in this situation, you now going against the Most High. Because like I said, the Most High exalted and bring down. It says, and he that is glad at calamities shall not be unpunished. So when you look at your brother who's going through certain things and you laughing at man or scorn or you happy at a situation, then the Most High says that's going to now come back on you, because we started the chapter off with to do no evil and so no harm come unto thee. You reap what you sow. So here it is, you laughing at that individual, you happy at his calamities. The Most High, okay, same thing going to happen to you now. You're going to go unpunished because how you dealt with your brother. This is specifically talking about your brother who's going through these, not the nations or the heathen, but mainly your brother.
So verse 12. Verse 12, it said, devise not a lie against thy brother, neither do the like to thy friend. So when you go back to read in Exodus 20, bearing false witness. Exodus 20 and 16, verse 12. Exodus 20 and 16. Got it, Zakar?
Exodus 20:16. And it says, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
Yeah, thy neighbor, your brother. It's a devise not a lie against thy brother. 20 and 16. So even Deuteronomy 15 and 12, it said, like, who's your brother, right? So Deuteronomy 15 and 12, it says, and if thy brother, an Hebrew man or an Hebrew woman, it said, be sold unto thee and serve thee 6 years, then in the 7th year thou shalt let him go free from thee. So your brother is a Hebrew man or a Hebrew woman. That's your brother. So verse 13. It says, use not to make any manner of lie, for the custom thereof is not good. So any form of lie, the habit of lying, it's not a good thing to be going around lying, and someone not going to eventually believe you. You're going around lying. So verse 14, it says, use not many words in a multitude of elders, and make not much babbling when thou prayest. So you're in front of, of elders, and, they be asking you questions, and you're in the multitude of, elders, right? 7:14. Verse 14. Matthew.
Where you at?
You're the multitude of elders, right? And they're asking you a certain question, this and that. It says, like Matthew 5:37, it said, let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay, for whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil. So you and elders, elders, and it says, make not much babbling when thou prayest. Prayer, when you pray to the Most High, you ask, rightly. And pray your righteous prayer and submit to the Most High. So, James 4, James 4:3. Consummate. Oh, okay.
James chapter 4, verse 3. Ye ask and receive not, because ye ask amiss, that ye may consume it upon your own lust.
So don't ask, for your lust. Ask that is in tune with the Most High. Right? Don't, all the babblings and so on and so forth. Because you're praying and you're talking to the Most High. Begging the Most High for mercy, etc., etc. Not just babbling. He said, verse 15, it says, hate not laborious work, neither husbandry, which the Most High had ordained. So, you work with your hands, you labor with your hands. Don't hate that work. Because sometimes you're in a situation, you might be doing office work or whatever. So, it's still labor. You still have to work. Either you're outside working in the field, in the yard or whatever, or you're working in an office. You work. It's still work. Not a husbandry, out there doing the fields. It's still work. Some of the people out there, working in the farms, working in the fields, picking all kind of, fruits and vegetables and doing all kind of, and getting menial salary, because if they don't do all of that, how, like we're gonna eat, so on and so forth.
So sometimes you gotta just do what you gotta do, right? Sometimes people think that they pride sets in that they're above doing certain work. Like if it requires you to feed your family or feed yourself, then you need to go do that laborer's work. Some people are like, nah, I don't want to do that job. When they don't have nothing, at least get that and build upon it. Some people have this concept that, no, I got to get the perfect thing while they have nothing. Right? So the Lord sometimes wants you to work for something. Like everything is not going to be given to you and handed to you on a silver platter. No, work for it. Build yourself up. Go and get something or show the initiative that you can do this. And then a better one will come afterwards after you now put forth that effort to do it. But to say, oh, no, I can't do that work, let them do that. That's why the Most High said, well, I put this out there for us to be able for you to do. Now you're too big for that? Oh, come on now. And then you get high-minded.
Yeah, just like Proverbs 22:13, it says, the slothful man said, "There's a lion without. I shall be slain in the streets." So it's like, I'm not going out. There's a lion out there. I'm going to be killed. So he's just staying in his house. Yeah. And now they fruits and vegetables and garden and fields out there, and it's like, come, you want some, fruits and vegetables. You have certain places out there. You just have field out there, and you just plant and you just go and get it. Because when things start to get like real bad, I saw a video. His brother was saying that they have all this stuff in here, fruits and vegetables that is free for people to just come and get it. So with the slothful man, he's not even want to go out there to get that.
Yeah, they kind of like, it's a lot of like I'm seeing a lot of food pantries that's out there for people who don't have enough money to go buy food and groceries. So people are providing food and giving out food. You got some people who even high-minded to go get that. It's like, nah, I ain't going on that line. I don't want to be seen on that line getting that food. Why? Because you fear what somebody may presume or assume about you when you don't have no food. You ain't got no food. Go get something. They're giving it away free. Go get it. They're giving you this job. Go take it.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm too good. I'm too good for that. It's like, okay.
Just like it says, Proverbs 26:14, as the door turneth upon his hinges, so doth the slothful man upon his bed. So the door upon the hinges is turning open, closed. He's on his bed. He don't want to go out and do that stuff because it's gonna really get bad at times. Things are bad now, and you'll have to go out there and do certain things and get food. Verse 16, number not thyself among the multitude of sinners, but remember that wrath will not tarry long. So you're in a multitude of sinners, wrath is gonna come, upon them. So don't number yourself with them. Separate yourselves from them. Verse 17, humble thyself greatly, for the vengeance of the ungodly is fire and worms. So, humble yourself, because when the vengeance come upon, the ungodly, is fires and worms. Yeah. So that's Isaiah 66. I think it's 24, right? Oh, really quickly. Isaiah 66:24. It says, and they shall go forth and look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me, for their worms shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched, and they shall be abhorrent unto all flesh. So, worms and fire. So verse 18, it said, change not a friend for any good by no means, neither a faithful brother for the gold of free. So you're gonna, drop your friends and your brother. So you're gonna pursue all of these things. You still have your friends, your friends and your brothers. It's like you're in the truth and you have have your brothers. And you're gonna like drop them to go and do certain things out there. You still have your friends. Verse 19, forego not a wise and good woman, for her grace is above gold. So a woman that is wise and good, she's worthy. So when it be Proverbs 31, when you find out, find a worthy wife, woman, she's for her grace is above gold. She's worthy. Verse 20, whereas thy servant worketh truly, entreat him not evil, nor the hireling that bestoweth himself wholly for thee. So you have a servant that worketh good with you. Don't treat him evil. And the hireling, the daily laborers, so on and so forth, pay him accordingly. Don't Kansama.
So when you read verses like this, or laws like this, or statutes like this, it shows you the difference on how much of a high level of a standard the Most High is going to have the children of Israel in comparison to every other nation, not just Esau, but every other nation. Because even with your servants, you were supposed to keep a certain balance in how you dealt with them, right? Esau, because they're the ones that have been ruling now, when they have people who are working for them or servants or what have you, they treat them horrible. They disrespect them. They make them effeminate. They break them to the point where they're nothing and just look at them as property. So that's why the Most High's judgment is even going to come on Esau and the nations, that they're going to be a possession unto us, because in the same manner how they treated us, that's what the Most High says is going to happen to them when you read in Isaiah 14. But the Most High had a whole disposition of how we're supposed to deal with them, deal with servants, deal with hirelings, and not to mistreat them, because they're doing us a service. So the better we treat, or the better you treat your servant, your hireling, the better they're going to be willing to work for you and do certain things for you. So that's how the Most High had that whole dynamic even come to fruition. I remember a friend of mine who I used to work with, he's from my brother. He had a house, nice house. He was building a whole back deck. So he went to the day laborers, Issachar, and the rest of the other northern tribe brothers. They used to hang out at the little supermarkets on the corners, and he picked them up. And he would, he had them come out to his crib, and they agreed on a payment for them to come help and build his deck. But he was like, listen, every day I have my wife cook food for them, bring them water throughout the period of time, because they doing me a service. This is what he said. I'm doing, so I want to make sure I take care of them. And they was happy. They was like, oh, my friend, no, this is not needed. It's like, nah, I wanted to do this for you for free of charge. And they were super happy because of how he dealt with that interaction, because they were now doing him a service, and he realized that he wanted, and they was brothers, and he helped them out. So that perspective should always go with who, especially for those of us who are working within Israel, right? Those of us who are working within Israel, this will 100% always be the standard. Now with the nations, to a certain extent, they're not going to be treated, of course, like Israel, but you can still say, you know what, this guy, this woman, whoever it may be, have always followed and believed and understood how it is. You know what, I may throw him a crumb, like how should I do the woman in the New Testament, a crumb. I may throw them some crumbs and treat them nicely and do certain things for this person, but they understand the hierarchy, they understand their position, right? But it just always puts you in mind of how you are supposed to conduct yourself with the things that you are provided or given as a blessing from the Most High.
Yes. Verse 20, it says here, Leviticus chapter 19, verse 13. Thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him. The wages of him that is hired shall not abide with thee all night until the morning. So, you hire someone to do a job, you're going to hold their wages until the morning. Yeah, Leviticus 19 and 13. Day laborers, they come and work for you. Don't hold it until the morning. Sometimes it could be, they bus fare to go home. And they come to you and you're holding the wages. Verse 21. He said, like how sometimes, like I even read some video I was watching, these sister was working for these, the so-called white people and so on and so forth. And she figured that she could get some of the food, the little leftovers, what they have to eat. And she said the lady at the house would just spit in every plate. So it was like, she can't even get that. The little pittance that they have, the leftovers. So they treat us like horrible, really bad,
Yeah, I never understood when you go like certain restaurants and establishments like that. At the end of the day, they'll throw the food out, right? And they'll say they're throwing it out because of liability issues.
Yeah.
Right? But that makes no sense because the same food that they're throwing out is the same food that they're selling to people to eat. So if you're saying to yourself at the end of the day, you know what? We got all this food left over. We ain't going to do nothing with it. We're not going to store it. We're going to cook fresh food the next day. Then go give it to the poor. They don't have any money, so give it to the poor. But they say, no, we can't do that because of liability issues.
Yeah, that's what they say.
But the same liability issues held firm when you were selling the same food. So if you were selling the food, then you were going to be liable. You stood by your food when you were selling it to people. Stand by your food when you giving it away free.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. And what do you think? The poor man is going to say, oh, man, he gave me some food and I got sick. He's going to go down to the courthouse and sue? How often does that happen? They're eating out the garbage can. So that perspective never makes sense to me.
Yeah, I've seen it already. Like in New York, the brothers are more like standing out McDonald's there. I said, why are they standing out here? Like that. So when the McDonald's throw away their food, they were busting opening the bags and taking the food out to eat. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
It's real sad.
So why not just, if you know that's what's going to happen, I get it. They don't want to be in the position where they're doing a hand-to-hand thing. If you go in the trash can and get it, then you on its own. I didn't give it to him. I get that perspective to kind of cover your behind, but it makes no sense. Some establishments will do that. They will go and say at the end of the day, we got leftover bread or something like that. We're going to donate and give this to you, right? They'll do that. And they'll take that liability on themselves and say it's free food here. And no one complains. No one comes back and says, oh, such and such. No, because they're doing them a service.
Yeah, because sometimes if you go into certain third world countries, we don't do all of that waste stuff, because people are hungry out there. Like say you're gonna throw all that food, like we don't do that. And the whole, as far as I've seen, when you're out there, you have hungry people all over yourself certain food, and it's like, I'm gonna take the rest home and give it to my family or friends, as opposed to just wasting it, Verse 21. Let thy soul love a good servant and defraud him not of liberty. So when a servant is working for you, sometimes they want to go and, visit their family or relatives, you're like, okay, go ahead. Because, I've seen that in Jamaica that I grew up. That, somebody's come and they work for you and you pay them, not much, and they stated they get, the room and board. And they treat it like family. And, when they want to go and visit their family or relatives, just like, go ahead and go. Letting them do that. Verse 22. Hast thou cattle? Have an eye to them. And if they be for thy profit, keep them with thee. So you have a cattle. You're going to have the cattle and your goods. You're going to watch over them. You're going to make sure, that even if you sleeping, you have somebody watch over them too. Because that's your profit. Keep them close to you. Because many times I hear people steal your cattle and, steal your goods. So you got to, keep an eye on it. Verse 23 is, now hast thou children, instruct them, and bow down their neck from their youth. So once they, you have the children, you have children, you have to instruct them. Bow down their neck. Let them hear. Let them listen to you. Because the scripture says he shall not depart from it. Because when he go out there in the world, when he become an adult and he's out there in the world, he's going to have to obey, be a law-abiding citizen. Verse 24, hast thou daughters? Have a care of their body, and show not thyself cheerful toward them. So you hear a lot about, teenage pregnancies, and, you have your daughters, you care for them, you watch out for them. And be, stern towards them. You don't want to come back and you don't want to hear that, oh yeah, my 16-year-old daughter, she's in the house and she's running the street all night, and as if you don't care. And you end up finding out, oh, she's pregnant or something happened to her right there. You don't know because you're home sleeping. No, you care for her, care for them. Look, I need you home by a certain time. Where are you? Come home at a certain time. Verse 25, marry thy daughter, and so shalt thou have performed a weighty matter, but give her to a man of understanding. So by you caring for your daughter, you care for her growing up, and you make sure that she's okay and she's not out there wilding out there doing whatever dance, WAP or whatever, all them crazy stuff out there. So when you marry your daughter, you give that responsibility to her husband now. That at times you have your daughter, like when you read in the Old Testament, care for a daughter, and she would marry a man of understanding, and your daughter was a certain way, and it's like, like the virginity test, that they have the cloth and so on and so forth, that, and so on and so forth. So you take away a weighty matter from yourself. It's like, okay, now she's with her husband now, that responsibility is his. Verse 26, hast thou a wife after thy mind? Forsake her not, but give not thyself over to a light woman. So, I have a woman a wife that is like-minded, don't forsake her. But you're giving yourself over to a light woman who is, careless. And she just want to be all over the place and do all kind of stuff out there. So give not thyself to that.
You find it where you have a wife who understands the will of the Most High. That's what it says. Who's like your mind, right?
Yeah.
So you're supposed to be a man who understands the will of the Most High, and she, as it's written, it says, a wife after thy mind, meaning she's in conjunction with you. Then all of a sudden you go and you see another woman, and she may look, she's fair, she's beautiful. You like, but she's diggy. She don't have the same kind of perspective as far as for the will of the Most High. But you on the surface like what you see, right? And then you start going over there and wanting to deal with that person, but that person is not following the will of the Most High. It causes you now to have a problem within your household. Or you leave one and say, listen, I don't want to deal with this one. I'd rather choose the dingback, the dumb blind type thing. That's how it is in society. If you blind head, you dingy, you airhead. And you want to go and choose that because on the surface that person looks appealing, but in the spirit, they all jacked up. And then you go get with that person and you find out that you're in a way worse situation now. Because now what was good on the outside and now you're dealing with what's on the inside, and you're like, man, my whole world is turned upside down. And I left something, or I chose not to go and deal with something that was better and peaceful for me.
Yeah. So it's like I hear the thing about, yeah, Cardi being Offset. She said, oh, she's divorcing him because they're arguing so much now. And always like some other brothers out there, what? She's splitting from Offset. Always like, she's available. Maybe I can pursue her, you know? Send her flowers and so on and so forth. She's light. And because I want all that, the fame and fortune and all of that stuff. And I can be with her now. So it's like, you don't want to do that. Verse 27, it says, honor thy father with thy whole heart and forget not the sorrows of thy mother. So when you read, Exodus, honor thy mother and thy father. Verse 27, Exodus, what is that? Exodus 20 and Exodus 20 and 12. Exodus 20 and 12, it says, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Verse 27, with your whole heart, and forget not the sorrows of thy mother. Verse 28. Yeah, go on, Samar.
To go with that verse, this is the book of Tobit, the 4th chapter. The book of Tobit, the 4th chapter, and the 3rd verse.
Okay, Tobit. Oops. Tobit
4 and 3. It says, and when he had called him, he said, my son, when I am dead, bury me, and despise not thy mother, but honor her all the days of thy life, and do that which shall please her, and grieve her not. Verse 4. Remember, my son, that she saw many dangers for thee, when thou wast in her womb, and when she is dead, bury her by me in one grave. Right. So even Tobit advised his son. It's kind of, it's two parts to this, right? It's one aspect as to a person taking consideration for what happens or what things you want to have happen after you die, right? I know my wife will always ask me, so what do you want to do if you die? In my mind, I'm thinking, I'm going to make it when your house shot get there. I'm not thinking about when I die. The house shot's coming. However, you still do have to do, or I have to do the same pre-planning because you never know, right? You don't know the Most High's decision. You can't force the Most High, so you have to take those those considerations. So he's putting it just like Matthias did before his death when you read the Apocrypha about what was going to happen with his son. Same thing Jacob did with his sons before he died. Everyone took account of what was going to happen after they transitioned back to the spirit world. In this case, he advised his son about how to deal with his mother because of all the things that his mother did for him while he was yet still in the womb and then thereafter. Like the worries of a mother can't go, without care to think about, I got to pay respect unto her for what she has done to me, right? So that's in the law as far as to honor your mother and your father. It doesn't mean that if you have a mother or father in the world and they say, listen, I need you to come to the Christmas dinner, or they say, hey, I just cooked such and such and it got crabs or lobster in it, and that because you're honoring them, you have to listen and obey them. No, doesn't mean that. It means that you're going to still show them respect and reverence to a certain degree, right? Respect and reverence to a certain degree. We're going to be respectful to them, but anything that they advise and they want you to do that goes against the scriptures, that goes against the Most High Yahweh, that you say respectfully, Mom, I can't do that because the Most High said such and such. There's a high authority now over your parents, which is the Most High Yahweh. Whereas now, when you honor them for certain, listen, I need you to come over here and help trim my hedges, right? All right, Dad, I'll come over there and help trim your hedges. I need you to see if you can take me over here and do such and such. My knees is hurting me now. You know what, Mom? All right, I'm going to be over there at a certain time. I'll do this. Or I need you to come help me. Like those type things, because they're your parents and they've done so much for you, you will owe that back to them. Right? You got to give them that honor and respect so that you don't, as Tobit said, don't grieve her. Right? Oh, I don't know why I know I have a close relative. His children don't deal with him for anything. And what? He's grieved. He's grieved that his children, he has like 4, they don't come and do anything. They don't check up on him. They don't come by the house, and he's got diseases. So that's what you don't want to do to your parents, that you now show them that honor and respect, because it shows the character of how the Most High wants us to deal with each other as a family. Remember a few months ago, we was reading in the New Testament about how to deal with widows. And they said, listen, the prophets are going to start doing administration and deal with the widows. But some of y'all can take care of your own mothers. Don't bring them here when you got a whole household that you can take care of yourself. So y'all take care of them. If they have nobody to take care, then bring them over to the men so that they can deal with them. But if you got families and households, it's a shame if y'all don't deal with your own parents and family. And that's how the Most High is now keeping order within the family structure.
And it goes into verse 28. It said, remember that thou was begotten of them. And how canst thou recompense them the things that they have done for thee? How can you pay them back? Honor and respect them and don't forsake them. Verse 29, fear the Lord with all thy soul and reverence his priests. So the Most High, set up, his priests to do his daily daily ministering to the Most High. It says reverence his priests. And at times that slaughter the priests. Who was it that slaughtered X amount of priests? Yeah, I remember a time at a point that they had killed priests. I'm chilling. It says, reverence his priests, because the priests are doing the offerings to the Most High for you. Right? So verse 30. Love him that made thee with all thy strength, and forsake not his ministers. So the priests are doing your offering. You come into the temple, and you're giving, the priests your offerings and so on and so forth, and they're ministering, ministering to the Most High in the temple. Verse 31, fear the Lord and honor the priest and give him his portion, as it is commanded thee, the first fruits and the trespass offering and the gift of the shoulders and the sacrifice of sanctification and the first fruits of the holy things. So the priests get their portion. That they get their portion because the Levite, as in the scriptures, the Levite, they don't have a land, so their portion that we give the temple, we give the Most High 10% and free will offerings to the priests, the Most High. So that's what they live on, and they get their part of the offering, that they're offering, and that the priests able to eat that, get that portion. Because if we didn't give any tithes and offering to the Most High and the priests, and that's what they live on. Deuteronomy 10 and 9. Deuteronomy 10 and 9. It says, wherefore Levi had no part nor inheritance with his brethren. The Lord is his inheritance according as the Lord thy God promised him. So when you look at the land with the 12 tribes of Israel, it's the other tribe, the other 11 tribes, they have their land. So the Levites are in the land. They don't have like a land like the other tribes, but they're in the land, and they get their portion from the other tribes. That's verse 31. Verse 32. And stretch thine hand unto the poor, that thy blessing may be perfected. So you stretch your hand to the poor of your people. Like we read earlier, it's atonement for sin. Verse 33, a gift had grace in the sight of every man living, and for the dead detain it not. So with a man that is, living is, it says a gift. Verse 34, it said, fail not to be with them that weep, and mourn with them that mourn. So even when Moses died, Deuteronomy 34 and 8. Verse 34. Deuteronomy 34 and 8. It says, and the children of Israel wept for Moses in the plains of Moab 30 days. So the days of weeping and mourning for Moses were ended. It says, verse 35, be not slow to visit the sick, for that shall make thee to be beloved. So, visit the sick. It's a good thing to do, visit the imprisoned. For verse 35. So Matthew 25. 25:30. Come on, read it for me. Matthew 25:37.
Matthew chapter 25.
Verse 35.
Verse 35.
On down to verse 40.
Matthew chapter 25, verse 35. For I was an hungered, and you gave me meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. Naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee an hungered and fed thee, or thirsty and gave thee drink? When saw we thee a stranger and took thee in, or naked and clothed thee? Or when saw we thee sick or in prison and came unto thee? And the king shall answer and say unto them, verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me.
So that's what verse 35 is talking about. Verse 36. It said, whatsoever thou takest in hand, remember the end, and thou shalt never do amiss. So whatever you take your hand to do, like it says, do it in the Most High's name. So if you're building, a house, make sure you diligently, building that house, right? And you do it properly. And you don't shortcut, because it's going to reflect upon you. So do it properly from the beginning. All right, so that's Ecclesiasticus chapter 7. We can take a half an hour break. We're going to come back at, it's 1:10. We're going to come back at 1:40. All right, Shalom. Remember, it's the Sabbath and we can't cook on this day. See you at 1:40. Shalom.